Sam Walton's innovative idea of providing low prices every day to its customers has enabled Walmart to become one of the world's largest retail outlets, with an annual revenue of $443.9 billion. The success of Walmart is due to revolutionizing and transforming the way Americans shop and setting the model for competitors. Today, more than 200 million people visit Walmart's 10,000 operating retail stores that are under different banners in 27 countries. In California alone, there are 250 retail stores. Walmart has embraced the values of offering the best assortment of merchandise at great prices and gaining profit by selling mass volume. Adopting the slogan, "Save money, live better," Walmart's commitment to low prices has saved Americans' families up to $2,500 a year. Walmart not only seeks to provide affordable products, but it's continuously serving the community through different services. This is what Walmart claims it has to offer.
I've been working with Walmart Logistics for only 90 days, and I'm amazed. I have health insurance and benefits for me and my kids. And that gives me peace of mind, knowing if something happens, we're covered. And with these guys, I'll need it.
Working for Walmart Logistics, I know what I do is appreciated, and I get treated with respect. I've never had that in a job before.
California's Inland Empire is a metropolitan area that includes the cities of San Bernardino and Riverside. With its population more than tripling, this region has consistently ranked as one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas in the United States. Constructions of new homes and the growth of the goods movement and warehouse industry provided many new jobs and homes for the workers in the area. This area of opportunity quickly faced an economic bind. It has one of the highest unemployment rates among the nation's largest metropolitan areas, with unemployment levels reaching 10.1%. The Inland Valley struggles because its current development model is influenced by the logistics industry that relies on cheap labor, unstable jobs, no employee benefits, and the use of staffing agencies. Southern California's ports account for 43% of the country's imports. The Inland Empire is heart of the goods movement industry since it is connected to important highways, the accessibility to trains, and the space needed to construct new warehouses. As of today, the Inland Empire has one of the largest concentrations of warehouses and distribution centers on the planet. Within these warehouses, men make up 69% and women make approximately 31% of the labor force. In this region, more than 100,000 workers labor for giant corporations such as Target, Kmart, Sears, but most importantly, Walmart, all which serve the national market.
These are America's ports. They are responsible for billions of dollars in this economy. They're responsible for millions of jobs in this country. Every state in this great country benefits from what goes on, but you know what? You have not benefited.
Although the logistics industry has brought jobs to the Inland Empire, many of the workers are hired through temporary agencies which do not offer stable jobs, living wages, and health care benefits. According to a survey conducted by the Labor Organizing and Community Health Project at the University of California, Riverside, 136 warehouse workers were sampled in the Riverside, Ontario, San Bernardino region, in which they learned that 64% do not have health insurance, 30% have employer-provided insurance, and the 6% of the workers who got surveyed did not respond. They also found that 61% were hired through temporary agencies, and only 35% of the workers were hired directly through the company, with 4% of the respondents refusing to answer. Emeritus Professor Edna Benayak from the University of California, Riverside, along with Professor Juan de Lara of the University of Southern California, found that the region's temporary employment sector grew by 575% between 1990 and 2007. They also discovered that there were a total of 424 staffing agencies in the region, reaching a higher concentration of temporary employment than in any other region in the state. Because many of the workers are hired through temporary agencies, their wages are often low. Health and safety violations are common, and wage violations are frequent. Little attention is being paid to the working conditions of these laborers because many of them are hired through temporary agencies, and many are immigrants and racial minorities.
I would change the system that they have right now with the staffing agencies, because really there's no need to have staffing agencies. You know, a staffing agency, instead of helping you out, they take your money away from you. I would like that to change. Instead of being employed through a staffing agency, being hired directly through the company.
The logistics industry and big retail stores such as Walmart have adopted this trend of relying on third-party companies to reduce the cost of production and liability. An example of this is Schneider Logistics, a company that owns and operates a distribution center in Mira Loma, California, one of the most important Walmart warehouse facilities in the nation. They are one of the many companies that handle the shipping and logistic needs of this giant retail store. In order for Schneider to cut production costs and maximize their profit, they rely on temporary agencies to contract warehouse workers.
Because you're a temporary worker, when you file the application, they make sure to tell you, like, there's no raise here, there's no benefits here. If you want to take the job like that, good. If you don't, then there's the door. So when you're in need, of a job, obviously you're gonna just take it, right?
The logistics industry in the Inland Empire has subjected its workers to low wages in order to entice big corporations such as Walmart to further create jobs in the area. According to UC Riverside survey, the average warehouse worker, combining temporary and direct hired workers, earn an estimate of $10.46 per hour. But those who are hired through a temporary agency earn an hourly wage of $9.43. The bottom 25% of warehouse workers earn an hourly wage of $8.50 per hour, according to the survey. Findings from the California Budget Project indicate that the average Inland Empire worker requires a wage of $17.48 per hour to meet their family basic needs, and only 3% of warehouse workers actually earn this.
Warehouse industry, it's the most common thing to work on because you don't need experience. So when, say that you show up the first day, they don't require you to have an experience to work in a warehouse. The only thing they tell you is like, here, start unloading a truck. Here, start putting labels here, or start, driving that forklift. And there's no training at all. You get the training along the way, like when you start work.
Many workers in the Inland Empire decide to take a job at the warehouse because it does not require them to have a specific occupational skill level. This is another reason why many workers find themselves performing a task that requires a lot of physical work under stressful conditions. A study done by the Public Policy Institute of California concluded that 51% of the adult population of the Inland Valley have less than or equivalent of a high school education. The UCR study similarly found that 49% of warehouse workers have a high school diploma, 34% have at least some college education, while 15% have less than a high school education, while 2% refuse to respond to this question.
Ahora sí que no. Si me hubiera superado, pues tuviera más nivel de estudio, pues no estuviera trabajando en bodega. Sí. Estuviera trabajando en una oficina, sé lo que.
Sí. In 2005, Contingent Worker Supplement conducted by the Bureau of Labor Statistics found that nearly 21% of contingent workers, some 2.5 million workers, were Latino. At the same time, while Latino workers in the United States have the highest labor force participation rate of any other racial group, they are also among the lowest rung of the economic ladder, with 2 in 5 Latinos not earning enough to keep their families out of poverty. The UC Riverside survey found that 85% of the warehouse workers in the Inland Empire are Latino, with at least 27 of respondents claiming to be immigrants. Immigrant workers are often more susceptible to experience workplace health, safety, and wage violations, and are more vulnerable to employer retaliation.
Los mayores obstáculos es tener que lidiar con estos, más que nada, empleadores que se aprovechan de los trabajadores en ocasiones por no saber nuestros derechos.
The demand for employment is high in the area. The employers of distribution centers and warehouses feel that workers are easily replaceable. Instead of making their priority the health and safety of the workers, they concentrate on their productivity, profit, and merchandise, exposing many of their employees to hazardous conditions.
A mí me tocó una vez, porque yo le dije al supervisor que me iba a ir a break, iba a agarrar un break de 5 minutos para tomar agua, como las leyes lo exigen. Y él no, al principio me dijo, ok, ve, pero cuando yo regresé, él me quiso humillar delante de los demás. Me dijo que si yo quería estar como forklift driver o si yo quería irme a descargar a mano, o sea, a lumber. Yo le dije, hey, tengo derecho de tomar mi break de 5 minutos. El calor está fuerte. Y me quiso bajar de la máquina enfrente de todos.
The company doesn't care the environment where you work or the working conditions. What they care is just about production and how much you're gonna be able to produce per day, because they're very demanding. Now, they don't care if you're working on a container with 95 degrees or 115 degrees, or if you have water, or if you have the proper training, if you feel sick, or if you're on a place where you're not gonna get hurt. They don't care about that. They only care about you getting done the work, completing the amount of cases they ask you per hour, or hitting the goal in an 8-hour shift of how many containers they want. And as long as you do that, the rest is not important to them.
Warehouse work possesses several dangers to workers' health and safety. The complexity of the work performed in warehouses, fast-moving vehicles, had led California's Division of Occupational Safety and Health, OSHA, to identify the warehouse industry as one of the state's high-hazard industries. A recent survey of warehouse workers in the Inland Empire revealed that at least 63% had been injured on the job, 83% suffered from a job-related illness, and 84% had witnessed an injury of a coworker.
No tenemos acceso a agua limpia, el agua que tomamos es agua.
Walmart no quiere tomar responsabilidad.
Avisar a los trabajadores. Creo que te piden cantidades de cartones por hora que en ocasiones no se pueden cumplir y te amenazan de que si no lo haces al día siguiente ya no te van a llevar a trabajar. Entonces eso son faltas de respeto de ellos. O sea, es inhumano lo que ellos están haciendo por el simple hecho de que ellos creen que no puedes conseguir otro trabajo fácilmente en otro lado.
In order to stand up for their rights, the workers must organize. Organizations like Warehouse Workers United have provided the necessary tools to fight the ongoing battle of warehouse exploitation.
Nosotros levantamos una demanda con la agencia.
Sí.
Ellos nos pagaban, no nos pagaban overtime. Y metimos la demanda con la agencia.
Sí.
Y la agencia nos iban a despedir pues de la compañía. Nosotros hicimos muchas delegaciones, hicimos para recuperar el trabajo.
Sí.
Y lo logramos.
By taking a stand, Warehouse Workers United has been victorious. They have filed complaints with Cal OSHA that have led to the assessment of fines of more than $1 million against Walmart contracted warehousing firms and temporary staffing agencies. They have also produced legal victories in their campaign against wage and health violations in the industry.
With Warehouse Workers United, not only I learned about my rights, about the laws, about how to defend myself at my job, but how make real changes happen. So they did help me step by step. They were guiding us, how to file complaints with Cal OSHA, what Cal OSHA really does, how they work, and understanding all the process. And that led us to be able to make changes inside the warehouse, because it's not easy though. There's a lot of retaliation that we face as warehouse workers.
I don't mind standing up for workers and letting Walmart know they need to pay a decent wage and let folks organize. I don't mind doing that. That's what leadership at this moment demands, because when Walmart fails to provide health care for more than half of its employees, that puts workers and their families all across the country at risk of losing their health care too.
Many in the United States embrace the values of freedom of speech and civil rights. This has allowed countless workers to stand up against inhumane conditions. However, not all people are allowed this opportunity, nor are they protected from exploitation. Through outsourcing, Walmart is able to cut labor costs and avoid labor and environmental regulations. By using sweatshops, they increase their profit margin and expose their workers to extremely bad conditions. In 2012, a factory in Bangladesh caught fire, killing over 100 workers, including children and pregnant women. In April 24, 2013, a building collapse in Bangladesh claimed the lives of a total of 1,127 garment workers who worked at Rana Plaza in Dhaka. This is the deadliest industrial disaster in a manufacturing facility ever recorded in history. This disaster highlights the hazardous working conditions in Bangladesh's $20 billion garment industry and the lack of safety for millions of workers who are paid as low as $38 a month. Since 2005, up until now, 1,800 Bangladesh garment industry workers have been killed in fires or building collapses. Think about the lives that have been lost and continue to be lost due to the exploitable conditions large retail stores, such as Walmart, tend to use in order to maximize their profit. The greed of the large corporations has proven to be inequitable to many members of society. Walmart has yet to take responsibility.
Nada es para que nos respeten, ganarnos el respeto de todos los empleadores y que nos traten humanitariamente como humanos que somos, que creo que nos merecemos una oportunidad.
Workers will no longer remain in the shadow, nor will they remain silent regarding the inhumane conditions they face day to day. We can all agree that workers who dedicate immensely hours of hard work into their job should be paid accordingly, and that an employee who has been battered and disrespected by their boss or supervisor should be able to come forward without fear. The use of staffing agencies has prevented the workers from unionizing and standing up for their rights. At the same time, a portion of the warehouse workers that are undocumented do not stand up for their rights for the fear that their employers will retaliate by firing them or calling immigration to deport them. Employers have commonly manipulated the dysfunctional immigration system to intimidate undocumented workers. Therefore, we urge our communities to support a fair and comprehensive immigration reform to diminish the abuse many immigrant workers face in the labor sector. Finally, yet importantly, it is time to hold Walmart accountable for marginalizing the working class, not just in America, but in other parts of the world, who nevertheless play a pivotal role in contributing to the national and global economic growth. Social justice demands no less. In order to succeed, the community must come together and demand their rights to be respected.
J's.